نحمده ونصلي ونسلم على رسوله الكريم أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قال الله تبارك وتعالى في القرآن المجيد والفرقان الحميد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم ألا إن أولياء الله لا خوف عليهم ولا هم يحزنون صدق الله مولانا العظيم وبلغنا رسوله النبي الكريم الأمين ونحن على ذلك من الشاهدين والشاكرين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Starting in the name of Allah, who is the most beneficent and the merciful, who is the glorious creator of all the universe, everything within it and out of it. Gentlemen, as we all know, we are experiencing the blissful month of Rajab al-Murajjab. This month is associated with one of the great events, one of the greatest personalities of Islam, one of the greatest saints of Islam, who affected the history of mankind. One of them is known as Sultan al-Hind, one of the greatest saints of subcontinent. Hazrat Khwaja Gharib Nawaz, Khwaja Mu'in Alddin Chishti Ajmeeri rahimahullah ta'ala alayhi. One of the greatest saints of Islam, who dedicated his life, who devoted his life for the preachment of Islam, who stood from his homeland and stay at the heart of Kufr, at the heart of non-Muslims, at the place of Ajmeer. He stayed there and has done the preachment of Islam. The greatness of Khwaja Mu'in Alddin Chishti Ajmeeri is that he was one of the greatest saints, that his golden words has affected the history of Islam. His golden words, one of the famous words that are being famous in the Muslims throughout the centuries, not for 1 or 2 days, not 1-2 years, but throughout the centuries, these words has been famous. His wordings, the golden words, the Khwaja Mu'in Alddin Chishti Ajmeeri rahmatullah ta'ala said, Shah astu Husain, Badshah astu Husain, Deen astu Husain, Deen Pana astu Husain, Sardad Nadad, Dastar Daste Yazid, Haqqa Kabina ila ilaha astu Husain. These were the golden wordings about Imam Husain radiyallahu ta'ala anhu, that Khwaja Mu'in Alddin Chishti Ajmeeri have said. And these words have been famous and are being famous today, in today's era, in the modern era. Or even in this era, they are famous. There are many words. The Khwaja Mu'in Alddin Chishti, just like that, though his one of the famous quotes, that Khwaja Mu'in Alddin Chishti Ajmeeri went and stayed in Lahore. His one of the golden quotes, he said about the greatest saint of subcontinent, the greatest religious personality of this region, Hazrat Dada Ali Hajweri rahimallahu ta'ala alayhi. What he has said about him, Ganj bakshe faiz alam, Ganj bakshe faiz harb alam, mazhar noor khuda, naqisara pir kamil, kamilara rahnuma. These were the golden words. There are many sayings of Khwaja Mu'in Alddin Chishti Ajmeeri. One of the greatest saints, this much greatness of Khwaja Mu'in Alddin Chishti Ajmeeri, that not 1, 2, not hundreds, not thousands, but 90 lakhs Muslims. He converted 90 lakh non-Muslims to Muslims. This is the greatness of Khwaja Mu'in Alddin Chishti Ajmeeri. Such a pious personality, such a great person, who affected not only the history of Muslims, but the history of whole world, the whole mankind. You and we are Muslims because of these awliya Allah, because of these saints, because they spread the light of Islam in these regions. Our forefathers were converted to Muslims by these saints. This is their work. We are the fruits of their preachment of Islam. We are the fruits. And Quran Majid Furqan Habib, the Holy Quran, described these awliya. Allah inna awliya Allah la khawfun alayhim wa la hum yahzanun. That they have no fear. They have no fear of their past. They have no fear of their future. They have no sorrow, they have no grief of their past. Because their day and their night, everything, every time, every moment is in the blessing of Allah Azza wa Jal. Is in the zikr, is in the praying of Allah Azza wa Jal.
Spending life in the light of Quran Hadith.
They spend their whole lives, every moment, everything in the light of Quran Majid, Furqan Habib. They follow the whole conduct of Quran Majid, Furqan Habib that has been described in this holy book. That is why Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala described their specialty, that they have no fear, they have no sorrow, because they are following what we have ordered them. And this is the specialty, this is the characteristic that Quran had described for the saints of Allah. This was the message of today, that whenever the characteristic that Quran Majid Furqan Habib had described to us, we should take this characteristic, that the one who doesn't pray, who doesn't pray, who doesn't do zakah, who doesn't pray hajj, who doesn't follow the teachings of Islam, the basics of Islam, cannot be a saint. It cannot be a saint unless who violates the rules of Islam, who violates the teachings of Quran, who violates the teachings of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, can never be a saint. To become a saint, the first thing you have to follow is the Sharia. After that, there comes the tariqah. These are the message of these saints. Follow the ones who follow the teachings of Islam. Follow the ones who follow the footsteps of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Jazakallah.